Hello everyone, Drifter here, travel fact checker. I'm back again for another accessible travel episode. This time we're in the beautiful Austrian capital of Vienna. Stop that, we haven't got the rights for that. Now, I just want to say what a perfect destination Vienna is for people with disabilities. It is such an accessible city and every tourist attraction is accessible for wheelchair use. Well, almost one. We'll be talking about that a bit later on. We'll be, as usual, talking about the four main tourist attraction. That'll be Stephansdom, the centre as a whole, the opera, and finally SchönBrunn. First, we have the beautiful Stephansdom, right smack bang in the centre of Vienna. This one is very, very easy. You're going to go through the entrance that everybody else uses. Now, to get out at Stephansdom, you are going to need to take two elevators or lifts. One elevator gets you to the floor just before street level, and then one more, as I'm showing you now, that will get you up to the street level as well. Looking around the place, you can see that it's all very flat, it's all very accessible. However, you're going to look here, that is the bell tower. There's a lift up to the top, but then there's steps. So unfortunately, you will not be able to do that. And also the catacombs, as you're seeing now, that is also not disabled accessible, but every other part of Stephansdom is very much accessible. Now, for the partially sighted or the blind, there is a scale model that sits outside the entrance. If you just look here, it's just on the right, and there it is. You can really feel every nook and cranny of Stephansdom. Number two of the most popular tourist attraction is going to be Vienna city centre itself. We're going to first start off by turning away from Stephansdom and go in the direction of Julius Meinl, very famous Austrian coffee, which I would recommend you try while you're in the city. On the video, you can see it is very flat. There are no curbs, perfect for a wheelchair user. There's also the little bit of raised pavements for blind or partially sighted people. Also, lots of restaurants and cafes to check out in this area. If you don't want to look into Julius Meinl, then keep on going in the direction of Hofburg, and then you might see some chefs making the Austrian delicacy Kaiserschmarrn. Absolutely delicious. It's like thick pancakes. Definitely recommend you try them. It means Emperor's Mess, in case you're wondering. Now you can continue on towards the Spanish riding school. Make sure you look up because the ceiling here is very spectacular, and keep following along to Hofburg. Once you get to Hofburg, there is the Vienna World Museum, which also has disabled accessibility. As you can see on the video, there's a little drop curb on the way to Hofburg, but other than that, it is very flat, very easy to do. You can go to the museum quarter. That does just involve crossing the road from the Hofburg. And also during this centre tour, you can also go to places like Café Central. They do have a disabled entrance, but obviously you will still have to book in advance. It's on Herrengasse, no worries there. Lots of stuff to do in the centre. Now, to finish up our tour of the city centre, if you've decided not to go to any museums, you're going to go past the World Museum, take a left, and you'll come round to a park. This is a great throughway to get to the Albertina. Now, it is quite a beautiful place anyway. It's the back of the World Museum, and it is just a nice park if you want to chill. It's all accessible by a wheelchair. But if not, just follow along by the Butterfly House and eventually you'll come to the gate and we'll continue on our tour. Eventually you'll find yourself coming round by the Albertina, which is of course accessible, and it does have a wonderful view. Now, this is the lift right here. It's right next to the escalators, which are actually very obvious. And then you're just going to follow this ramp here and you can get a lovely view of the area, the Opera House. This is the only problem here. As I'm showing you right now, there is one curb that you do have to get down to be able to really enjoy the view of the Opera House. We're going to move on to our next thing, which is the Opera House. On the way to the opera though, you've got the famous Hotel Sacher, completely disabled friendly, the same entrance that everybody else uses, and you can try the famous Sacher Torte. Well, we've had our Sacher Torte, we can move on to the opera again now. Unfortunately though, comes some bad news. The tour of the Opera House is not available for wheelchair users. Unfortunately, it is an old building and they have not managed to make it all accessible. Don't fret though, because you can still see a show. There is special disabled seating. The companion gets in free. However, it does require a lot of forward planning, booking a lot in advance, especially if it is a very popular show. Just one word of warning, I have seen some reviews online that do say that the seats for the companions are pretty bad at the views of the stage, but I'll show you this picture, do a bit of research, you can make your own mind up about that. The entrance for the disabled people is right here. Just give that bell a ring, there'll be no problems at all. Once you've had your fill of the opera, it's going to be time to go to our fourth and final destination. It is SchönBrunn Palace. First up, you're going to take this lift from street level, and then you're going to follow this all the way to this second lift that'll get you directly onto the U4, which will take you to SchönBrunn station. Well, here we are. This is SchönBrunn station. The lift is very clearly right at the end, just before the steps, and that will get you up, and then you can get the rest of the way on street level to SchönBrunn. Now, there are many, many different things you can do at SchönBrunn, but we're just going to talk about the palace tour, the beautiful gardens, the apple strudel show, and that's it. So this is the main entrance. Here at the main entrance is where you can get all your information. The ticket office is just on the left, and this is where, of course, you can swap wheelchairs for maybe more robust wheelchairs or ones that do better on gravel, as SchönBrunn is all gravel. It is all flat, there are no steps, but it is all gravel, so please be wary of that. Now we're going to walk a bit over. This is the entrance to the strudel show, but if you want to go with your wheelchair, you are just gonna have to get your companion to go into the restaurant. Just let them know, and what they'll do is they'll take you around the back, which I'll show you right now. This is the back of the restaurant, and you can use their service lift to get there, no problem. And this is where you're going to end up with a beautiful little show on how to make one of Austria's best desserts. Now what we have here is the entrance to the palace tour. Now this one is again disabled accessible, but I would also say that you let them know you're coming, and also come at least 15 minutes before your tour starts. That's why they can sort you out, get everything prepared for you, and make sure that your visit is as streamlined and trouble-free as possible. Once again, the companion will get in free of charge if you have an ID with you to prove that you're the companion. We'll go into that a little bit more later. Now, if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to explore the gardens, or you want to explore the gardens after, you're going to just come this way I'm showing you now. It's the right if you're looking at the palace, and that is all just sloped to get round the back of the castle, just like that. And then you're going to come to this beautiful garden here. Now, it's winter at the moment, so as you can see, it's just a lot of mud, but it is still nonetheless beautiful. And what is so great about here is that, yes, it is gravel, so I would advise that anyone pushing the wheelchair gets themselves some nice grippy hiking shoes, because as you can see, that big massive hill, it is just the slope, but it is completely disabled accessible, and the view from up there is absolutely spectacular. Well, that is it for our 4 main tourist attractions. Congratulations if you've made it this far. It is a very long video, but I did want to cover all bases. If you have any more questions, please just drop them in the comments. I will endeavor to help you. And of course, I just want to say as a ending note, just how impressive Vienna is as a disabled person's destination. They really are so accommodating, and it really is something inspirational for other big cities to really see just how you can manage disabled accessibility in a big, popular, touristy city. So thank you so much for watching. I will be dropping other videos about tips, things to do before you come to Vienna, and also using public transport, because it is also very accessible. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and do remember to hit that subscribe button, and thank you again.